Welcome to the England Rugby Pod. Thanks for downloading our 50th episode, and particularly for those of you that have been with us since the beginning. We're taking a last look at England before the team announcement on Thursday, and then of course it's the autumn internationals. This is the England Rugby Pod, the rugby podcast that believes England will win the World Cup in 2019. Hi guys, welcome back. Thanks for joining us. This is a bit of a special episode because this is our 50th episode. I'm joined, of course, by Dan. Mate, 50 episodes.
Mate, good evening. 50 episodes, that's awesome. I'm really happy with that.
I know. We said when we started this, we said, well, we'll do one a week, and until it's no longer interesting. And I think in the early stages, we probably thought, are we gonna stick with this? Are we gonna stick with this? And there are times when it's not the, once we get on the line and we're chatting, it's always great. But it's getting set up for it, doing all the research, the editing, the getting it out there, and. But I think this just goes to show, doesn't it? 50 episodes, that's a lot. I'm pretty proud of it.
It's interesting. It was I think the first month, or I think it was a couple of weeks till the end of the month. I think we had 4 downloads, which was you, me, your wife, and my missus at the time. Now we're in the sort of few thousands a month, which is great, and we're really happy. And guys listening, we're really proud. Like we say, we're trying to be a sort of chat down the pub type podcast. But we're really grateful for everyone who listens. We're really enjoying doing it, and
absolutely,
let's keep it going.
Yeah, there would be no point in doing it if there was no one who wanted to listen. And the fact that, as you say, we've gone from 4 downloads in a month to a couple of thousand every month is brilliant. And it just goes to show that that there will always be the haters, but clearly there are 1 or 2 of you out there that do like what you're hearing. And as we say every week, we want you involved. So please do get in touch. If you've got questions, if you want to call us on something that we've inevitably got wrong, it does happen from time to time. Get in touch with us on Twitter at England Rugby Pod, Facebook, email us. We'll go through it all at the end, but there's plenty of ways to get in touch and get involved. So please do. Anyway, so on to the episode, and this week, obviously the Argentina game's just around the corner. It's been quite an interesting week. There's been quite a lot going on. Obviously, we've got the Rugby League World Cup is happening at the moment. There's the injury issues that are continually throwing up kind of curveballs for Eddie Jones. There's and of course the schedule for the World Cup was announced, so we can have a chat about that because that's another interesting one because we're in the pool of death, so we need to make sure that we can go into the games. In the right kind of mindset, because I think we both believe the pool's not the group's not going to be a particularly big issue for England because we believe we're going to go all the way. But you've still got to get it right, haven't you? Yeah,
you absolutely got to get it right. And it's like you say, it has been an interesting week. The injury thing is. So I wouldn't be surprised if there'll be more injuries, especially because we don't know what happened today. Because obviously today was the England-Wales sort of, I don't know what it's called, the scrum line out head-to-head down in Bristol.
Forwards,
so it'll be interesting.
Training camp, competitive training camp or something, isn't it?
Yeah, which I'm still loving. The more I think about that, the more I think that's brilliant. So there could be more from that. But the injuries thing are changing daily. So daily, no pun intended, because in my head, he was ruled out, but it seems like he will be ready for Argentina should he be selected. Yeah, and I've also heard Johnny May, who obviously tweaked hamstring in training in Portugal camp, I believe was then ruled out for this weekend. But Eddie Jones, from an interview, said it's not definite. And I hate that. If Johnny May's ruled out, he's ruled out. But I'd love to see him on the pitch at some time because he's just on fire right now.
He is for sure. I think probably he is on fire. There's no question that he's probably certainly the first winger on the team sheet when he's fully fit based on form. But I think England have enough strength and depth when it comes to the back three, certainly the wings, that if he wasn't available, I don't think it would impact the team. I think there are still plenty of guys out there who at this level are going to finish, what they're given. And Johnny May is very much a finisher. He doesn't tend to go and create Obviously, his pace, I guess, inevitably creates some opportunity. But he tends to be the guy that if you can get the ball to him off the back of whatever the play is that you're running, he's going over the line. He's scoring a try. So valuable in that way. But we've got guys. What I mean is we've got guys who can do that job. So it's not a disaster if he's not available for us. But I agree with you. I really want to see him on the pitch because I think it's all about form, and he is the informed winger at the moment.
Yeah, I'm also going to slightly disagree because normally I would have agreed with what you said, but this season I think he's become a bit of a worker as well. I believe, and I don't know how correct my facts are here, but I believe he's either top or second sort of meters made in the Premiership. He seems to be looking for work more and more, whereas before that was Jack Noel. Jack Noel as a winger would just be everywhere. I think Johnny May's starting to take that on a bit more.
Maybe, and hopefully, and that because that's what he needs to do to really succeed as as England's number one winger, or certainly one of two, and make it all the way to the World Cup. But I don't know. I think his pace for me, he's got this ridiculous pace, and he's playing in a side that's starting to fire now, and they're getting in the ball in space, but with a lot to do, and he's skinning a lot of people on the outside, and that is meters. Look at Mike Brown. For years, every game he was most meters made. Every Six Nations, most meters made. But you wouldn't say he was the most dangerous player on the pitch who was carving up defences. He's a fullback. He was getting the ball in space. So whilst he was doing a good job and retaining the ball, he had a good 20, 25 metres before he came into contact. So every time he made a run, and he ran a lot, he was adding another 25 metres to his tally.
Yeah, of course. Fullback does have that luxury a bit more than any other position, doesn't it? Because get a long kick and they've run 20 metres before anyone's near them, and it's like, oh look, the fullback's made a lot of metres this game. It's like, yeah, no shit.
But anyway, Daly, Johnny May, Anthony Watson obviously is in the mix. Jack Noel's in the. There's four guys there.
Well, Jack Noel's injured.
Sorry, Jack Noel, you're right. Of course, he's injured.
Yeah, so Rocco
Daguni,
and Denny Solomona.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see what he does. Denny Solomona obviously didn't play a huge amount in Argentina, but he did score that wonder try to clinch one of the games.
It's you're right. It is going to be interesting. It will massively depend, I think, and Watson obviously.
Yeah.
So
Anthony Watson.
I think Watson's probably a starter because I think Mike Brown will be fullback.
Yes.
Watson. Let's not speculate too much because obviously we're going to do another one on Thursday following team announcement. But it's just, I guess it's more about sort of, it's good to know at one point we had a million wingers and then we went down to bare bones because of injuries. Now it seems like the truth is whoever we pick, we've got good wingers.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not like we're suddenly picking
and options in the event of options in the event of injuries and what have you. And this is a prime example. We all want to see Johnny May on the pitch because he's the informed winger. But if he's unavailable for the first game, it's not. It wouldn't be like losing a Farrell because you've got guys that can step in and fill that void without it changing the kind of the dynamic of the team in the game and what have you. I agree with you. Well, let's leave that then, and we'll come back to it on Thursday when we announce the side and talk about what he's decided to go with. Let's have a look at the schedule for the World Cup because I think this is quite an interesting one. Obviously, we've got the group of death: Tonga, USA, Argentina, France, and of course us. Everyone, I guess, is saying, well, Tonga and USA it's too soon, and that they're not the guys. But Argentina, France, and England have to fill two spaces. On paper, England shouldn't have any problems with any of them. Argentina, obviously, in 5 days' time, 6 days' time, will be an interesting. It will have an opportunity, obviously, to see what a full strength England side can do against them following that summer tour.
Yeah.
So that will be really useful, and of course, we'll have France in sort of February, March time for the Six Nations, so we'll get an opportunity to try them out as well. So that will be great. But in terms of the schedule itself, our opening fixture is against Tonga. Obviously, it's going to be a big physical one. I guess the big worry there is injuries.
Well, I don't think you can go in a World Cup worrying about that. I think you play. So looking at that, typically the first match of the World Cup, you tend to put out a pretty strong team, which I think
Yep.
will make sense. Against Tonga, we probably will. But then, and rightly so, there's a small turnaround because historically at World Cups, the big teams have had a week between each match, plenty of days for recovery, and it is for lesser nations have had before the 4 or 5 day turnarounds. But now they're making it equal, and it rightly
right.
so,
Yeah,
because these less teams deserve the opportunity to put in their best performance. And then we've got USA next. Now, USA rugby at the moment, I'm getting quite impressed by. I think they are getting better and better. I think this World Cup will be too soon for them, and I don't think we'll lose. But I think come 2023, I think USA are going to be a lot more of a power than we realise, because rugby is starting to take off there a bit now. Their sevens team are looking good. Even in Rugby League, they're starting to build a bit. And Rugby Union, I like how USA Rugby's going. I think it'll be too soon. And I think, and I don't mean this disrespectfully to the USA, but I think that will probably be our easiest match come 2019. So it may work quite well, because Tonga, we put out a strong team. I think against USA, we can probably put out a lesser team.
I think the thing with Tonga is it's going to be an incredibly physical team. Sure. So the first 40, 50, 60 minutes could be a really tight game. I think after that, that's when England turn the whole game round. I think that probably when most of the teams then turn things around and put points on them. So I wouldn't be surprised to see quite a tough first half against them. I think the thing with the USA is they're probably the fittest side in world rugby at the moment.
USA?
Yeah. And the reason I say that, and it's probably a good point good spot to point this out. There's something I've put on Twitter. I guess they're a podcaster, but they're a video podcast. They're called the 1014 at the 1014 Rugby. They are, and they have done a Pool C analysis, but they've done it in a way that's kind of it's a really interesting watch. It's about sort of 20 minutes or so. They go through each of the teams, and obviously from our point of view, their analysis on England is particularly interesting. And essentially what they've done is they've looked at the sides, they've broken them down into sort of little packs. So you've got the front three, you've got the second row, your back row, the scrum half and fly half are a pairing, you've got the centres, the wings, or the back three, or whatever it is. And they look at their age, they look at the number of caps they've got, they look at their kind of win and loss percentages, they look at what point in the games they're scoring, because with England we have, I think, a 95% win rate, but only a 60% win rate at half time.
Okay.
So, and what they're saying is that analysis shows them that England have fitness. Their fitness levels are superior to most, because they're able to pick things up when other teams are starting to drop. So when you see other sides where actually they tend to lose more in the second half, it typically shows a kind of a lack of fitness. And the USA, that's one of the sort of the stats that they've pulled up on them. So when I say the fittest team in world rugby, they're up there. Maybe they're not as fit as England, and maybe there's a few others, but that's one of the things that they've clearly decided to focus on, and that potentially becomes a problem, because if they can stay in a game for 40, 50, 60 minutes, they have the potential to create problems in that kind of last 20, 25. And so it'll be very interesting to see what happens with them. I agree with you. I think it's too soon. I think these guys with their analysis, they think actually 2 World Cups. So they think in 10 years from now, they will be a world-class side and up there with the best of them, because, as you say, they're developing all the time. As a nation, I mean, they have the ability to sort of say, right, we want to dominate world rugby, and they could do it. It might take 10 years.
I don't know if they could do that, because there's. I think they could definitely get out there. I like USA Sport, Joe. Like, I like their approach to it. I like their as a whole. I think in world rugby they could get there, whether they would ever.
Do you not think though, with the size of the pool that they have, with the potential for investment and everything else, if they decide to set their minds to it, do you not think that they can?
I honestly believe in rugby, and I may be old school, but I honestly believe where you look at someone like New Zealand just, I believe, their heritage of that.
But
You're
England compete.
born and bred.
But England compete with, we're expecting England to win the World Cup in 2019. We want to be the best team in the world.
We're not expecting. We know they will.
Yeah. We are going to be the best team in the world again. But we don't have that same thing.
We still have that heritage. We invented the game.
We invented the game, sure. But if in New Zealand, every single person loves rugby. It's a religion. Over here, everyone loves football. A few of you've got public school. I mean, it's changing. Grassroots is becoming more appealing to everybody. But for many years, it's been a very much a public school sport. It's been an elite sport. So I agree. You and I, we love the game. We always have done since as far back as we can remember. But I wouldn't say that everyone in England is born loving this game of rugby. Most of the population don't know the rules.
It's still part of like when we play rugby. I see what you mean, and I think USA can definitely become world power. And do you know what? I think they will. I don't think they'll ever get to a point where they dominate it to the extent someone like in New Zealand do, because quite frankly, it will never. It'll be like saying, I don't know, they could dominate. I don't know, even football. If you look at it, like they've got power, but it's just not sort of built into them, because their first point of call will always be American football, basketball, baseball.
Yeah. And the money is going to be the big thing, isn't it? Because if you're an elite sportsman, and for a lot of people, the guys who play football professionally, are also good rugby players and good cricketers and good football. I've said football. In America, you've got your American footballers who probably grew up playing baseball and basketball as well. They were just natural athletes. So if you are a natural athlete who's good enough to turn it into a career, do you want to go and play American football for 100 million a year, or do you want to go and play rugby for still a very good salary, probably 250 to £500,000 a year, but it's not quite 100 million, is it?
No. And I agree. I love rugby with all my heart, but if somebody offered me 100 million a year to play basketball or baseball, I'd do that.
And that's where World Rugby have to make sure that they do their bit, because it's really important that if America does decide that they want to invest in rugby and they want to try and compete, what they can't do is pay for it. Do you know what I mean? We can't suddenly have all of these nations, all our top players over here going, well, we can't afford not to go over there because they're going to pay us 100 million quid a year.
Well, don't. I mean, they wouldn't do that because it just wouldn't make financial sense. However you look at it, even if you look at Japan now, like they'll pay some ridiculous wages to people, but people don't go over there because you're not playing the level of rugby to play realistic thing. I mean, some of the Japanese wages are huge. I mean, it's caught up now, but no one, even an American billionaire, is not going to say, I'll pay this guy $3 million a year if he's just going to constantly be losing money just paying loads of people. But I don't know why we're talking about it. I think we're saying the USA are. I like the way they're looking at rugby. I think they'll be competitive in World Cup. I don't think it'll be a walkover. I don't think it'll be a sort of 60-point thrashing, because actually the USA and do you know what I quite like about them, which they're an honest rugby team. They will put in the graft. They will make you work for it, and I really like that.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think the key thing with the USA, from an England point of view, is going to be putting them under huge pressure from the very get go. I think the key thing is not to leave them in the game. England had this habit of waiting until the second half. I think against the USA, whilst I don't think they'll lose. I think that last 20 is going to be probably when it becomes slightly more interesting. I think the USA might offer slightly more than England are used to, certainly in terms of what the expectation is when you just sort of say, oh, we're playing the USA. I think they might surprise them in that respect. So I think, we need to win it convincingly in that first 40. We've got plenty of time to talk about that one, obviously. We're a couple of years out. But and obviously, it'll be interesting to see how those teams develop over the next couple of years as well, because, a lot can happen in 2 years. Moving on then, the two big ones, obviously, Argentina and France. We have Argentina third. So that comes about a week after. No, so then we have about 9 days off, don't we?
Yeah, we've got yeah, I think you're right. I think it is 9 days. We've got then it's Argentina,
which is quite
and then
nice
we've got
because if we think of Tonga as the first game on the 22nd and Argentina as the third game on the 5th, in the event that anyone does come a cropper against Tonga, which will be a physical game, as we've said, there's a good amount of time for recovery. There's a good amount of time for recovery generally, particularly if they put out a strong side against Tonga and then rest a few against the USA. But even if they decide not to rest too many against the USA, you've got that gap that's long enough for everyone to kind of fully recover and be ready to go for the next game. Because obviously what we wouldn't have wanted was to be playing our toughest games, within a few days of each other.
Oh no, exactly. So actually, like, the 4-day turnaround works well, and then we've got a gap, like you say, between Argentina, then another week between France, and this is what our pod's about. So I know we've asked to chat this till the end. So actually, although there's that short turnaround, I think it's good. I think we can get most of the squad involved in those first 2 games.
Yeah.
However it works out, and you can go full out. Then, like you say, you've got the 9-day break. Then you've got Argentina. Then you've got France, who we need to. We have 100% faith in our team, but they are dangerous teams. It's not impossible for them to beat us.
Oh, absolutely. They haven't both beaten us before, but I know Argentina have beaten England. Have they?
Have they? France definitely have.
France, obviously, yeah. I can't remember. Argentina have certainly beaten a few big teams.
Yeah, they've
whether
been
we're one of them or not.
In my head, I don't think they've beaten England. I don't think we've ever lost to Argentina. I could be wrong.
Yeah,
but I don't think we've lost to Italy or Argentina before.
Did we not lose to Argentina in like a World Cup warm-up game or something?
I don't believe so. Please, guys, message us.
Have Argentina ever beaten England?
Yeah, and let us know when, and please put us to shame. Let us know we're wrong.
They don't need to. I've got the answer right here.
Right.
They have won 4 times.
Oh, Argentina have they?
They've beaten England 4 times. England have beaten them 17 times, and there's been 1 draw.
Oh, wow. And 4 times? Shit, I didn't realise that.
When would they have been? So the most recent was 2009. 2009 in Argentina, they won 24-22.
2000. So during the Lions tour, yeah.
Yeah, 2006 at Twickenham, they won 25-18. I don't remember that.
Okay.
They thumped us in 1997, 33-13. Again, an England tour would have been probably a Lions year again. And again, a tour in 1990, they won 15-13. So it looks like it's... Other than that, so they have actually won one of the Autumn Internationals before, at Twickenham, 2006. I guess that's when England were probably... They'd lost most of their World Cup squad, and they were starting from scratch. They're probably putting out a pretty newbie side, I guess.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't realise that. Okay.
There you go. So yeah, we keep saying everyone get involved. Apparently there's no need on this occasion. But tell us if I've got it wrong, or if there's more to add on that. If you've got anything interesting to add to that, then definitely get in touch. But yeah, there you have it. So this is not obviously the time for that to change. Well, it is time for that to change.
As the England Rugby Pod, we've got massively involved with USA and Argentina at the moment, which is fair enough. They're in our group for the World Cup. So
yeah, so I think talking about Argentina and France, just the last thing, and what's more interesting from an England perspective, and while we're discussing the schedule, is that they have each other first. They're up first. It's on the 21st. So actually, our first game against Tonga is on the 22nd. They play each other the day before on the 21st of, I guess, September. So that will be a really interesting one. They have their biggest game up first rather than at the end. Well, no, France have their biggest game at the end against us. But yeah, so France have got Argentina first, England last, and a couple of middling games in between, which probably is not a bad thing for them. Come in fresh and ready to go with one of their big games, and then they have a couple of sort of practice games in theory to get themselves prepped to play us last.
Yeah.
Have we got anything to add to that? Are you there?
No, I'm here. I like looking at this, and I know you and I, but especially based upon what our pod's based on, we've been analysing this so much, and we're doing it again, actually, aren't we? I think we're probably over-analysing the whole situation, but it's, hey, this is important. This is what it's all about, right? It's about winning it in 2019, and I think with that, I think it works okay for us. I think it works fairly well for us. It's very easy to second guess. Let's see how we get on against Argentina this weekend, first and foremost.
Yeah, that'll be a good test, and we should see a good result. You know, if a side that's a third strength can go out to Argentina and beat them twice, you'd like to think that when we put out, maybe not quite a full strength, but certainly getting up there, full strength in terms of availability and what have you, you'd like to think that they can put in a convincing win. And I think England are going to go out. There's going to be no holding back. I don't think we're going to see too many kind of. I don't think there's going to be too many tactical kind of calls to play lesser players, to give people a go. You know, I think he's going to want to, certainly the first game, he's going to want to go out and put in a big performance. We know against Australia the following week he's going to want to put in a big performance. Maybe he tries a couple of guys out against Samoa, but. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. We've been talking about the last couple of weeks, but obviously you and I we're going to be there at the weekend.
Oh, have we mentioned that before?
I don't think we've ever mentioned it to anyone, no. But yeah, but that's going to be great to be able to see it in person. It's always good to go to Twickenham.
Mate, I can't wait.
Obviously, guys, that means that we won't do. So the plan is throughout the autumn internationals is to go back to our kind of format of doing the live games where we do a kind of a pre-game chat on the Thursday when teams are announced, and then on the Saturday itself we'll do a little piece before, during, and after, just to try and get you involved in the game as much as possible. Obviously, the episode will go out a fair bit later because we've got to record it, edit it, and put it out there. But when you're listening to it, hopefully, then it just you get to hear our opinions based on how the game progresses, rather than us just having the same opinion as everyone else after the game's over. So hopefully that makes it a bit more interesting, a bit different from all the other podcasts that are out there. Because you might find that we're loving it in the first half and then hating it in the second half, or vice versa. So we'll get back to those obviously from Australia onwards. But of course we won't be able to do that next weekend. So instead we'll bring you an episode on. We'll try and record something on Sunday maybe, depending on how we're feeling, and get something out just to discuss how all that went while we were over there.
Yeah, what's the plan? Obviously, we're meeting before we're
car park picnic.
Car park picnic. Yeah, and then afterwards over to the stoop.
Yeah, could well be.
If anyone's about, guys, you won't know what we look like.
Dan will be the one in the clown suit.
I'll be the one in the clown suit. Come say hi. I need to wear a clown suit now, don't I?
Yeah, you do.
You do. I genuinely, okay, fine. I'll be in the clown suit. If any listeners are there at Twickenham, look for me in a clown suit, stand next to a guy who's about 6'10", beard, long hair, looks like.
Sounds like Sebastian Chabal.
Yeah. Look, a wannabe Sebastian Chabal, and that's us. Come up, say hi, and we'd love to have a beer with you.
Yeah, be good. And genuinely though, ping us a message on Twitter or something, because we'll obviously we'll have all our phones there, so we'll, if you want to come and have a beer.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, yeah, guys, if anyone's there, ping us a message on Twitter, do it, and we'd love to join you for a beer.
Before we wrap this up, a couple of other things. The Barbars played New Zealand at the weekend. Sure, lots of you watched that. Obviously, New Zealand did what New Zealand do and won the game in the end, but the Barbars looked good, didn't they, in that first half? And they put New Zealand under a lot of pressure. It was nice to see New Zealand not walking it. And particularly, and I know that it's always difficult against a Barbar side to do a kind of a true comparison, because there will always be decisions that they make that you just wouldn't make in a test match. and they're 50-50 decisions that sometimes they go your way and sometimes they don't. And so if you get the rub of the green, it can look like you're a far superior side. But that Barbar side was big. It was aggressive. It was fast. I really enjoyed that game.
So I've only seen highlights. I haven't seen the game in full, but yeah, I mean, I remember you messaged me saying you got to watch this, and unfortunately, I couldn't have time. But yeah, I mean, it sounded like a great game. Actually, more importantly, I'm going to move on. Is Australia gave Japan a fair beating. Now, Japan are not a world power in rugby, but they are definitely getting better. They've got a great coaching set up, and Australia might be starting to get back to where they should be, and they could be dangerous.
Yeah,
they could be dangerous in a couple of weeks' time. So I think that's an important one to keep an eye out for, because I think they're 9 tries or something. So they
have a lot to lose. I think it's 5-0 at the moment. The last 5 games against Australia, so they really don't want to be going down another one. England obviously never want to lose. Well, I mean, England and Australia never want to lose to each other. Full stop. It's always a massive grudge match. The fact that our coach, who's doing absolute wonders in world rugby, is Australian, is only going to piss them off more and make them want to beat us even more, and it's only going to make him want to beat them even more. So it's going to be a fascinating game. It's going to be really exciting. I'm really looking forward to it. But you're right. Australia are definitely kind of stepping up, and a few months ago we were probably writing them off as just something wasn't right there, but they're starting to gel a little bit more now.
Yeah, it's and actually that's good. We need that, and we do need that, and they will definitely. I mean, they were always going to be a challenge regardless, but it looks like a fairly fierce challenge now. As in fairness, let's not disrespect them. As in fairness, so will Argentina be. Samoa, with all due respect, physically will be. I can't see a scenario with us losing that. I must admit, I probably can't with Argentina either. But actually, I could with Argentina, because they've pushed some Southern Hemisphere guys. With Samoa, I couldn't. But
3-0.
And realistically, 3-0, with Argentina, yeah, I think you're right.
3-0. Right. Talking of Samoa, Tonga against Samoa in the Rugby League World Cup. Go on Facebook, find us. Check out the video of the Haka, because that was awesome. The pair of them huckering off against each other. It was very cool. And I would recommend watching it before the game on Saturday, just to psych yourself up, even though they've got nothing to do with England or Argentina. Watch that to get yourself fired up.
I love the fact they all went in a huddle before and prayed together, and just for respect for it, showing just how rugby should be. And then once the match kicked off, that must have been.
Oh, you got a call, mate. You're calling me.
Yeah. Apparently it was you. So yeah, sorry. I just looked at that. It said Aka's ringing. I was like, what? Why are you calling me? But yeah, once that match kicked off, that must have been one of the most dangerous places on earth to be, right?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't see it. I don't follow a lot of the rugby league, to be honest. We've kind of. I keep an eye on the scores a little bit, particularly with England, it being a World Cup. The last thing I want to talk about is actually the game against Lebanon. But yeah, I saw, actually, it was a clip. I didn't see it live. I saw a clip of the video on Facebook, and initially assumed it was Union. It turns out it was League. But 2 massive sides, massive physical sides, aggressive warriors. They would probably describe themselves as. And when they're going head to head with the Haka like that, we've always enjoyed the Haka, but it's rare that you see the two facing off against each other. It was very, very cool. So yeah, check it out, guys. As I say, great way to psych yourself up before Saturday. So yeah, just to kind of wrap things up. England against Lebanon. I know you're probably wondering, Lebanon in playing rugby? They do. It's not really Lebanon. It's just another Australia side. That's why Australia is so good. They have about 9 countries that they're all Aussies. The Lebanese.
There's a big Lebanese presence in Australia, isn't there?
Apparently, there's just
every so-called Lebanese.
Every nation seems to. I mean, yeah, they are a team of Australians, Lebanese Australians, I guess they would call themselves. But
it's like, oh, hello from Lebanon. It's like, good day, mate. It's like, okay.
Well, so the Lebanese captain, Robbie Farah. So this was what I wanted to bring up. England won. We're still going. We lost to Australia in the opening game, but Australia are expected to win the World Cup. So, that was always a likely scenario. England now need to win their remaining games to get themselves through and potentially get themselves another shot at Australia in the final. And, that would be a great result to get that far. So, so far they're doing what they need to do. And of course, Sam Burgess is involved in that. Don't know whether that's a boo or a cheer moment. But yeah, so just been kind of keeping a close-ish eye on what's going on. But I was watching the game against Lebanon, and Robbie Farah, the Lebanese captain, kind of halfway through the game, just suddenly sort of made this big song and a bit of a scrap, and made this big song and dance, and claimed to have been bitten. And it's one of those where you always kind of think, oh, not this, people making it up. Did he bite himself to try and create a problem? Anyway, so there's a lot of chat about it. The guy, Jermaine McGilvery, I think it is.
I'm not sure, mate, but I know who you mean. He's a quality player.
Yeah, the England winger. He was the one being accused of it. Anyway, so there's a lot of chat. You're kind of going, did he, didn't he? Let's get on with it. There's no proof. And then a picture comes up on the screen of Jermaine with Robbie's arm in his mouth. So I think the did he, didn't he, that's pretty much gone. And we were chatting about this before the show. There's never going to be an occasion when you justify biting. Obviously, it's not part of the game. It's just weird. But if a guy grabs you around the head and shoves his arm in your mouth, is there a kind of a mild justification for saying get off me? Having a little nibble, maybe. It's got a nibble, not a bite.
I think the difference between you and me is I'm not Hannibal Lecter, so I would say biting, gouging, not welcome. But I mean, mate, if that's what you're for, yeah. I mean, here's the thing, and this is true of a lot of scenarios recently. If somebody, like you say, is grabbing you around the head, and you've got to look at those people also being able to be cited. But no, I don't think there's justification for biting. But mate, I mean, you justify whatever means you need to.
Okay. I mean, I wasn't actually justifying biting, but
I know. I know. I was just trying to take you down.
Yeah, you didn't.
Good.
Anywho, I think that probably wraps up what's been going on this week. That's of interest regarding England and a few others there. But as Dan said, it's okay to talk about Tonga, USA, and Argentina and France because, as you say, they're a key part of our World Cup journey. And obviously, any of the teams that we're playing against, we're going to discuss. But as we said, there'll be more on Thursday when we'll have the actual team to talk about. See what Eddie Jones selects to face Argentina on Saturday. And then next week, possibly over the weekend, more likely knowing what I expect is going to happen on Saturday, it'll be this time next week. We'll put out on our Tuesday episode, we'll kind of analyse the Argentina game. But then from the week after that, for the Australia game, you'll get your pre, during and post game analysis episodes for Argentina and Samoa. Get back into the habit of that, and then we can do a bit of a roundup after the internationals are finished and see how things stand, and see how England are looking. First outing for it's been a while, I think, since England got an outing as a full unit, because of course
Six Nations,
which getting on for a year, 9 months. So it'll be good to see them. Good to see them out there again, and I'm really looking forward to it. So I hope you guys enjoy it too.
Yeah, same, mate. Once again, thanks so much to our sponsor, Doghouse Fitness in Balham. Mate, we'll obviously chat Thursday to discuss teams, do the pod, and I can't wait to catch up for a beer in the Cardinal Vaughan car park on Saturday.
Sounds good, guys. Thanks for listening. As always, get on iTunes, rate us, review us, leave us any comments. Get in touch with us on Twitter at England Rugby Pod. Also, as I mentioned in the episode, check out the 10-14 Rugby. They've got some good stuff all about England as well as all the other teams as well. Get in touch with us on email if you need to, englandrugbypod@gmail.com, and check out the website, www.englandrugbypod.com. Thanks for listening, guys, and take care.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Cheers, brother. Speak soon.